When it comes to Lions fans, no one can doubt the passion that we have for our team. However, though, sometimes lessons need to be relearned and need to be retaught because they can be forgotten. And a former Lions player just taught a crucial one once again, and we're going to talk about it. So stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. Once again, folks, I just want to say thank you all to all those who have donated to my GoFundMe page to help me get back on my feet again from the car accident that I had earlier in February. We're going to keep that donation open. Hopefully, I get more donations. Already have reached my goal, but again, as you know, with cars, things are unpredictable. Again, I'm going to put a picture of what the post looks like. I'm also going to put the link in the description page, so that way, those that want to donate, want to continue to help me out, they can find it. But I just want to say I am so very, very appreciative to those who have donated, especially one that really got me over the edge. I don't know his exact name, but he went by the name of William Shade too, so I just wanted to give a big shout out to him. Other guys like, Elizabeth Oberlin and a bunch of others who have really helped me out. Again, you guys are absolutely fantastic, and I never ever want you guys to think that I'm not appreciative, and that goes for everybody who's helped me so far. Having said that, let's get into the content. Like I said in the intro, when it comes to Lions fans, nobody can question the passion that we have for our team. And realistically, you can say that for every freaking sports team that the Lions have. Doesn't matter if it's the Pistons, doesn't matter if it's the Tigers, doesn't matter if it's, the Red Wings. We are very passionate about our teams. However, when we're talking about the Lions, for some, regardless of how long they've been, studying, how long they've been in the business, how long they've been following sports, the understanding of the intricacies of NFL decisions, understanding of what, teams do, it can sometimes elude them, and they might not fully grasp the reality of what is going on, or the difficult decisions or the difficult understanding that surrounds the reality of running an NFL organization, especially in the case of the Detroit Lions, when also stacked against its history. Because let's understand something here. The Lions have been a team that have not exactly had the strongest history. We haven't won a championship since the 1950s. We've been in a mode of mediocrity for decades up until now. So it's one of those things where, because of our history, that kind of plays into how some fans look at how the organization should make certain decisions. So I thought to myself, okay, we need to have this conversation. But how do I have it? Wouldn't you know it, somebody made a comment, or rather I should say several comments in one interview that really provided the catalyst, if you will, to get this content going. Because I asked myself, outside of organizational leadership and ownership, what is the next best source of info to find this kind of content? That would be players and former players. But why seek it in the first place? The reason why is that some Lions fans, as is typical when it comes to things, and things don't go their way, they seek to blame someone as to say, oh, well, this is the reason why that hasn't happened, this is the reason why this hasn't happened, and we all know it, we've all heard it, we've dealt with it for years on end. And unfortunately, some people are very quick to try and find a scapegoat rather than accepting the simple truth of the reality. And this offseason, we have seen at least 3 different entities that have come under fire from some of these fans. Those being the entities that I'm talking about, that is, strength and conditioning, the health coaching, Brad Holmes, and also quarterback Jared Goff. Now, it's easy to point the finger at somebody and, say, oh, well, this is the reason for that, that's the reason for this, they're the reason why we didn't get what we wanted, which ultimately for the Lions fans that I'm talking about is winning a Super Bowl. Now, we can talk about, Holmes, and we can talk about strength and conditioning, and everyone can say, oh, because Holmes didn't make this trade, Holmes didn't make this move, we didn't get this pass rusher, we didn't get this player, we didn't get to a Super Bowl. Others will say, oh, because of strength and conditioning, because of the health problems that we had on our defense, and because of all the guys that were on IR, that's because of this. And you know what? You can do that. That's totally fine. We live in a free country. I defend that country with the job that I do. I'm totally fine with that. But to simply try and point the finger at any one given person is simply not realistic. And furthermore, it's not factual. But yet, outside of that, the one person that has been a prime target by those fans that want to say why the Lions have not gotten further, why the Lions have not gotten to a Super Bowl, blah, 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 that person that's been a prime target has been Jared Goff. And it has been that way ever since he got here 4 years ago. It didn't matter if it was the first season when we went 3-13-1, didn't matter if we went 9-8, 12-5, 15-2. Whenever things have gone wrong and all else is taken off the table, a lot of these Lions fans that I'm talking about, they want to point the finger at Goff as to, oh, he's the reason why we can't, why we didn't, blah, 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 blah. And oftentimes, I have shot back at those people, and I've done my best to remind those people that Goff is the best QB that the Lions have had since the days of Bobby Lane. But again, as part of the reason why I have the channel, as part of the reason why I have maintained this, despite my best efforts, those people want to continue to deny and argue the truth of the matter. They want to say that what I'm presenting is not reality. But that's why having a former player who not only is a former player who went through all this, but also is a former player of the position that we're talking about here, which is quarterback, which provides not only authenticity, but authority to this conversation, not only makes my logical and reasonable arguments better and easier, but in this case, irrefutable. What player am I talking about? I'm talking about former Detroit Lions quarterback Joey Harrington, the former first-round pick back in 2002. Now, where does this whole conversation start? It starts at the scouting combine, and Joey Harrington was talking with some other people about what was going on with the Lions, his thoughts, so on and so forth. Let's be honest, Harrington doesn't really do a whole lot anymore as far as what is considered with the Lions. He usually tends to himself, he tends to his home life, raises his kid, he's a family man, all that nonsense. But when I heard that Joey Harrington had something to say about this, I was kind of interested. What did he have to say? Well, what it boiled down to is that Joey Harrington, in essence, said that Jared Goff deserves more praise, more credit for what he has done for the Lions, and less criticism from those fans that want to make him the scapegoat, that want to point the finger at him. So what exactly did Harrington say? Well, he had quite a lot to say. We're going to be taking a look at quite a couple of these quotes, and I'm going to present evidence that backs up the quotes that Harrington had to say about Goff. So where do we start this? We start it with this quote, which is, as soon as I make my page, turn and all that nonsense, we're going to say it. What's the quote? The first quote is this. The first quote from Harrington is this. Look, Jared is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. He took the Lions to, frankly, a place that they have never been before, and what he has done is nothing short of fantastic. And the fact that he's able to block out those ridiculous thoughts. Look, he's one of pick a number, 10 best people in the world at what he's doing right now. That's the first part that we're going to take a look at here. Because, I'm going to say this right now. Let's understand something very clearly here about who's making this quote. If there is anybody on this earth that understands the sheer depth of misery and desperation that not only the Lions organization has had, but that Lions fans had during any one period of time that they were with the team, it has got to be Harrington. Again, I remember because around the time that Joey Harrington was, the quarterback of the Lions, that's where I really started my fandom as far as actually watching the team. He was the quarterback at the time, and I'm going to admit this, at the time I was a Harrington fan. I know I was probably in a very small minority, but let's remember something. When Joey Harrington was drafted 3rd overall, that was 4 years after Barry Sanders retired. So when Harrington got drafted, all of the expectations of him being not only the face of the franchise, but also the savior of the Lions, they were instantaneously thrust right on him. Let's call for what it is. That is a massive freaking, expectation to try and live up to. And here's the problem. Harrington had the opposite fortune that Goff has had of being with an organization that had good leadership to support their quarterback time and again. Again, everybody knows this. Harrington had the great misfortune of being under freaking Matt Millen's leadership as the GM. Matt Millen couldn't draft to save his life. He kept making bad decisions, kept drafting the wrong guys that were not fits or that were different offensive schemes, different offensive game plans, and all this other nonsense. And as my dad has told me, it was going to do one of two things. It was either going to work brilliantly or it was going to fail in absolute, fire and flame. And we all know how that happened. And so what happened? Coming out of college, Joey Harrington was a great quarterback as far as the talents that he brought to the table. But what happened was when the team continued to flounder and, everybody was looking for a scapegoat, which they made Harrington the scapegoat, Harrington's talents, they just got destroyed. They got wasted. I remember Howie Long at one point said if Harrington had gone to any other team than the Lions, his career arc would have been completely different. And I truly believe that. Because Harrington went to a team that simply did not understand how, at the time, to not only, build a roster, but to also supplement the quarterback time and again with good talent for the entire team, not just the offense. And what happened is as the seasons went by, the fans turned against him, the organization turned against him, it, in essence, destroyed him. I remember at some point, I don't remember where it was, but I remember reading that Joey Harrington, when he was at the point where the Lions finally let go of him, he was extremely depressed. Because you have to understand something. Harrington, coming out of college, was a very successful quarterback. He was used to winning, and he comes to Detroit. He's trying to do what he can to help win for that program. And you take a look at his record, I think he finished, 18-37? For a guy that's used to winning and then all of a sudden everybody's pointing the finger at him, that's going to be a huge confidence destroyer. And that's exactly what happened. And Harrington's career never recovered because of it. So, thinking about it from that perspective, hearing Harrington speak so highly of Goff is definitely something worth taking note of. Of which, Harrington further continued talking about Goff and made this second quote. And again, as soon as I can flip my page here, I'm going to read it to you. Here was the second part of the quote that Harrington stated. He said, "It's nothing short of fantastic what he," and he's again talking about Goff, "has been able to accomplish. The way he's been able to come in and frankly, just be himself, right? He's not trying to be somebody else. He's not trying to be some mobile quarterback. He's not trying to be someone who's out there making these ridiculous plays. He's just being himself. And that's enough." And that took him to what? They won 15 games this year? Let's understand something here. There is a huge part of that quote that I want to highlight. He's just being himself, and that's enough. Remember what freaking Dan Campbell said at the end of last season? Hey, Jared Goff, you're freaking good enough for Detroit. You have to think about it. Harrington's very astute and he's very aware of the reality of not only the Lions, but also of Goff's ability to confound not only Lions fans' expectations, but also the reality that's going throughout the NFL. Because we have to understand what the NFL is trying to do right now. They're in essence trying to find and trying to get more and more this idea, this concept of a mobile pocket passing quarterback. Because, yeah, everybody wants to talk about, the mobile quarterback, the scrambling quarterback. That's great, grand, and glorious, but truly what NFL teams are wanting, they're wanting to find a guy who can throw from the pocket, but has the mobility to extend plays, has the mobility to be able to move outside of the pocket, pick up first downs with the legs if necessary. That's what teams are looking for. Now, I'm going to say this. The statement of a mobile pocket passer, I grant you, it's oxymoronic, but it's the truth. And let's put that in context with Jared Goff. To say that Goff doesn't have any mobility, that's just absolutely sheer asinine stupidity because Goff has mobility. Goff can move, he can extend plays, and we've seen him do it. But contrary to what people want to think, it's not because Goff can't do it as to why he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it because he does not have to do it. Again, let's think about this. Why is that the case? Why does Goff not have to do that? Some people would say it's because of the offensive line. Some people would say it because of the supporting cast. Okay, that's part and parcel. I'll grant you that. But could it also be that what I'm gathering from Joey Harrington here is that Jared Goff is probably, arguably, the best pure passer in the NFL. And if he's not the best, he's easily within the top 3. Because let's just call it for what it is here. If you take a look at Jared Goff's stats, his numbers are just absolutely prolific. First and foremost here, let's take a look at Goff's stats since he became a starter back in 2017. I'm going to put the stats up on the screen. If you take a look at the numbers, Jared Goff is the number 1 quarterback in the NFL in terms of passing yardage. In fact, he has got almost 2,000 yards more than the number 2 guy on the list. You want to know who that is? That'd be Patrick Mahomes. Jared Goff is also 3rd in the NFL in passing touchdowns. He is 10th in the NFL since 2017 for passer rating, and he has the 2nd most regular season wins by a quarterback since then. I mean, you take a look at the numbers, at least since 2017, Jared Goff is right up there with some of the best that have played since that time. But some people are going to say, oh, well, David, you're just taking a look at the whole picture. What about while Goff has been here? Okay, fine. Let's take a look at how Goff has been since he's been here. Since 2021, Jared Goff has been the number 4 quarterback in the NFL in completion percentage. He has been ranked 2nd in terms of passing yards, tied 4th in pass average per throw, ranked 4th in passing touchdowns, ranked 9th in passing touchdown percentage per throw, ranked 4th in pass interception percentage per throw, ranked 4th in passer rating, and again, ranked 5th in regular season wins. Every single number on there, save the pass touchdown percentage, top 5. Every single one. So if you realistically want to think about it, since 2021, when he joined the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback. The statistics don't lie. But then people are going to be like, oh, well, that's great, grand, and glorious, David, but we're talking about right now. Okay, fine. Let's talk about right now as well. What did Jared Goff do last year? Oh, that gets even better. Jared Goff, last year with the Detroit Lions, ranked 2nd in the NFL in pass completion percentage, ranked 2nd in passing yards, ranked 2nd in pass average per throw, ranked 4th in passing touchdowns, ranked 3rd in pass touchdown percentage per throw, ranked 2nd in passer rating, and ranked 6th in QBR. Again, every single statistic except for that last one, the QBR, Jared Goff is a top 5 quarterback. And 4 out of those 7 statistics are in number 2 or higher. So realistically, you could make an argument that last year Jared Goff was a top 3 quarterback. And then if you want to add further to that argument, how was Jared Goff last year in terms of play action passing? The thing that he is considered the master of in the NFL. I mean, you take a look, you just type in Jared Goff play action numbers, you're going to see articles that talk about him being the master, having mastery of play action. What was Jared Goff last year in play action? Oh, Jared Goff last year in play action was 2nd in pass completion percentage off of play action. He was only 0.1% lower than the number 1 guy, which was Justin Herbert. He was ranked 1st in yards off of play action, which was number 2 was Justin Herbert. He actually had 400 plus less yards than Jared Goff. Jared Goff was tied second in pass average per throw off of play action, tied second in pass touchdowns off of play action, and ranked third in passer rating off of play action. So when you take a look at all those stats that I just presented, what do they show? They show three things really damn clearly. Number one, Jared Goff is one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. He is one of the elite passers in the NFL. The numbers don't lie. You cannot have those numbers over a career, over a period of time like what Goff has had and not be elite. There's a reason why Goff is where he's at. It's because he can produce. The second thing it shows is that Jared Goff, ever since joining the ranks of, 2017 starters, he's been one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. Everyone can say, oh, well, he doesn't have this in the playoffs. He doesn't have a Super Bowl win. He has a Super Bowl. Okay, let's understand something here. There have been plenty of guys that went to Super Bowls, lost them first time, and then got back and then won. We just saw one with Jalen Hurts. We saw it happen 3 times for John Elway. So don't use that to try and discredit Goff as to say, oh, well, he's not that good of a quarterback. BS, in my opinion. Anybody who wants to make that argument is just being lazy in their thinking. And the third thing about what those stats show for Jared Goff is that he is a huge reason as to why the Lions have had the recent and sustained string of success that they've had. That's why Harrington's last statement that we're going to take a look at about Goff is particularly important, and it's crucial to this topic conversation. Harrington finished saying this. He said, so, to say that Jared isn't enough, or that Jared isn't something, man, if it's me, I'm sitting there and I'm going to appreciate and admire the fact that he's been able to do something that none of us were able to do before him. Think about that, folks. You take a look at that last statement. That's the moneymaker statement. That's the clincher statement. That is the home run quote. Because consider that in the 4 years Goff has been with the Lions, he has given the Lions more continuous success, more production, efficiency from the quarterback position than any one of his predecessors since Bobby Lane. And the only reason Bobby Lane is in front of him is because he has the championships. Otherwise, Goff is the best quarterback the Lions have had in their history. The only reason Bobby Lane's in front of Goff is because he has those championship rings. Other than that, Goff is the best one that we've had. Because, let's think about this here. Goff has led the Lions to 3 straight winning seasons. That's the first time that's happened since 1993 to 1995. Goff has led the Lions to 2 straight division titles. The first time that's happened since 1952 to 1954. Goff got the Lions their very first ever number 1 playoff seeding. And if you still want to argue that Jared Goff is not the best quarterback and you want to say that it's Stafford because of the numbers, okay, Stafford obviously played here longer by about 3 times as much. But if you wanted to actually compare Goff to Stafford head-to-head in terms of not only the prolificness of stats, but also the efficiency of stats, here's a nice eye-opener for you. I decided to take a look at Stafford's best 3 overall seasons in terms of production, in terms of efficiency, and also in terms of actual overall numbers. That was from 2015 to 2017. In that time, Stafford did this. He completed 66.1% of his passes. He threw just a smidge over 13,000 yards, had a 7.4 in average a throw, 85 touchdowns with a 4.9 touchdown percentage per throw, 33 interceptions with a 1.9 interception percentage per throw, and a 96.5 passer rating. Not exactly bad numbers, pretty damn good in fact. But when you compare that to Jared Goff, it looks like damn child's play. In the 3 years that I'm going to talk about with Goff, which is 2022, 23, 24, this is what Goff has done in comparison to Stafford's best 3 years, in terms of both efficiency and in terms and also, the sheer number of volume of stats. Goff has thrown, in those 3 years I just mentioned, 68.1 completion percentage. That's 2 percentage points higher than Stafford. He has thrown 13,642 yards. That's 600 plus more yards than Stafford. He has a 7.9 average per throw. That's a half a yard more on average per throw than Stafford did. 96 passing touchdowns. That's 11 more than Stafford had. A 5.5 touchdown percentage per throw. That's 0.6 percentage points higher than Stafford. 31 interceptions. That's 2 less than Stafford. A 1.8 interception percentage per throw. That's 0.1 percentage points lower. And a 102.7 passer rating. That's 6.2 points higher than Stafford. So think about this. For everybody that wants to still hold on to Stafford like some old ex-fling ex-girlfriend because they can't let him go, think about this. As I just pointed out in painstaking clarity, Jared Goff has not only been more productive in terms of efficiency, but also in terms of volume and sheer numbers. And if anyone is thinking I'm cherry picking those numbers, remember that from 2015 to 2017, Stafford had his best supporting cast, he had his best head coach in his entire time he was here with the Lions because that was the Caldwell era, and in that same time frame, that shows Stafford's best overall statistical production, as I said, both from volume and from efficiency. And I'm going to say this right now. What did Stafford do in those 3 years? He got the Lions to the playoffs one time. And we got absolutely embarrassed by, I think it was the Seahawks losing 6-26. Everybody wants to talk about how we got embarrassed playing against the Commanders, losing, 31-45. At least the Lions offense was able to put up 30-plus points. We couldn't even put up more than 10 when Stafford was around. Oh, and one last thing. Before anybody wants to talk about the defense that Stafford supposedly didn't have, and the fact that Goff has had a better defense, I decided to take a look at that one too because I factored that in as well. If you take a look at Stafford's defense in those 3 years of 2015, 2016, 2017, you're going to see this. Stafford's defense in 2015 ranked 23rd. 2016, ranked 13th, ranked 2017 as 21st, gave up 400 points, 358 points, and 376 points. Okay, that's a total of 1,134 points over that time frame, which averages to 378 points given up per year. What was Goff's defense looking like in that time frame? Oh, this is what his defense was. 2022, tied 29th with 427 points. 2023, 395 points, ranked 23rd. Oh, in 2024, the year that he actually had a top 10 defense, which was ranked 7th with 342 points. Oh, that was ranked 7th, but we also had how many guys on IR that were starters? Oh, that's right, 15, 16 guys. And yet, despite that, freaking Goff's defenses over the last 3 years gave up 30 more points total and gave up 10 more points per average per year. But yet, what is Goff's record as the Detroit Lions quarterback in those 3 years from 2022 to now? His record has been 36-15 for a 70.6 win percentage total. Freaking Stafford's total from 2015 to 2017, 25-23 for a 52.1% win total. I'm just going to put it out there for you as painstakingly and, as clear as I possibly can. If the Lions didn't have Jared Goff, we would be in a completely different world right now. You cannot at all try to remove Goff from the conversation of the Lions' success and try and say that any other quarterback could fit this freaking offense or team the way that Goff has. Goff is a massive, massive reason as to why the Lions are where they're at, and there's no way around it. You can argue it all you want, but Harrington hit the nail on the head and needed to say what was needing to be said. That's it. But anyway, folks, having said that, I'm going to end this episode, and I just want to say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and forgot to do so at the time, I want to highly encourage y'all to please make sure you hit that bell notification icon at the bottom of the page, so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also want to encourage y'all to please share this content. Please share it here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Share anywhere and everywhere you possibly can. And with that being said, whether it's the first time you're watching me, you guys have been watching me forever today, I hope y'all learned something from it, and I hope y'all enjoyed the content. Also hope you got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.